Hi guys, it's me ROSJ and welcome back to Xaltic the Beginning series. The last time we talked about the introduction of Xaltic the Beginning series, and this includes the whole summary of chapter 1 and some introduction about the chapter 2 and chapter 3. We are also done with prologue and introduction of the first part of Father and Son. And if you missed the first video that I uploaded and you want to know the whole summary of chapter 1, I already put the link in the description below for you to watch it back. Because chapter 1 has a very long conversation. Now, let us go to the continuation of chapter 1. And this is chapter 1-A. Where is that? There it is. Chapter 1-A is a God and Elementals. There it is. Now, in this chapter, Anak will show Nald how their magic power works, and some theories about the God who governs each element. Anak will also differentiate between physical energy, life energy, and how they work. So, without further ado, let us continue. Now, Anak stand up from the rock and move towards the ground and start discussing the theory. He walked back and forth, put both hands at his lower back, and clenched it. As he discussed the theory, and once in a while, he looked back at Nal's face. This will be Anok's action during the duration of explanation regarding the theory of gods and element. Now look at Anok and start listening. Okay, now let's start by discussing the theory of elements and how can we conjure and transmute it. We have total of 4 elements in this world. These are fire, water, wind, and earth. Each of these elements has its deity, or what we called gods. Now let's start with the element of fire. Fire is nature's destructive force and has a capability to incinerate any matter on its path. The god that governs fire is called Hephaestus, and the sigil looks like this. Anak stopped walking and he faced Nald. Position his left palm in front of Nald, and the palm generate the symbol of fire sigil. Nald is still silent and listened to Anak carefully. Now, you have to concentrate and focus on the sigil. Imagine through your mind, and then it will reflect through your palm. Then move your palm closer to your demon sigil. That is when the process of conjuration occurs. You will feel the physical energy flowing inside your body. Anak stopped walking and faced Nald as he say, once you are ready to transmute the element, suddenly Anak raised his palm and opened, and then he closed it as he said, to anything that your palm touches. Now, let me demonstrate this to you. Anak start conjuring the element of fire. He concentrate and focus, put his right palm on his demon sigil. The fire sigil lit up on his palm and ready for transmutation. Nald is still silent and listening to Anak carefully. Anak show his palm to Nald while it is lighting up with the fire sigil as he continued to demonstrate and explain. As you can see, Nald, fire sigil is lit up on my palm. This means anything I touches will transmute into fire. Once you transmute something, that is when your physical energy depletes. Anak picked up a small rock as he continued to explain and demonstrate. I recommend that we use a smaller object like this small rock, which is the size of my palm. Anok start transmute the small rock, then the small rock turn into fireball. As you can see, the rock transmute into fireball. Now let's try throwing this to that small tree. Anok positions himself and facing the small tree, 7 feet away, and then he throw the fireball to a small tree, and the small tree incinerate. Nald was amazed on what he saw and say, "Wow, that's amazing, Father. What a destructive power." Anok replied as he said the following words, "Now, son, I only use a large portion of my physical energy on it. You have option to change the outcome of the fireball. You can either incinerate the object, burn it, or you can make it explode." Nal wants to see more fire transmutation from Anok as he say, "Father, can you show me the fireball again? But this time, make it explode?" Anok replied with a smile on his face as he say, "Not now, son, due to it may damage the forest too much. It is a blast and it has a wide range of damage. It might hit us with debris once explode. So it is best that we perform this far away from us. Let's do this another time once we are done with your practical." Now it seems a little bit disappointed as he say, "Okay, I understand, Father." Then he opened up another question. "Father, you told me that we can transmute any object. Why not transmute to a bigger object?" Anok answered and smile on his face as he said, "Good question, son. To answer this, the bigger the object, the more physical energy required to transmute it." Anok explained in full details about transmutation as he say, "Let's say you transmute an object for a bigger object. Yes, you can. However, it will take a lot of your physical energy. If you don't have enough physical energy, you cannot move. And if you cannot move, you cannot defend yourself or even conjure transmutation. Your enemy can kill you in an instant." Now I was able to understand what Anok meant, but he still have another question. "Father, can we transmute a living object?" Anok answered with a smile as he said, Yes, son, we can. You have to be aware of the size of that object. Now there's some questions that needs to be answered. Another question, Father, regarding what palm should I use for conjuration and transmutation? Is it the left palm or the right palm? Anok replied, "It doesn't matter whether it is a left palm or a right palm. The most important part is the concentration and focus on the sigil that you want to conjure and transmute." Now it clarifies what he understands to Anok. So that means I can transmute element using either on my left palm or right palm, right? Yes, you are correct, son. Now still have one last question that he needs to be answered as he asks, another question, how about using both palms at the same time? Is it possible? Anok replied, "No, son. You can only use one palm at a time." Nald was finally able to understand how to conjure and transmute, as he replied, "Understood, Father." Okay, let's go to the next element, which is the element of water. The tranquility of water gives us life, but it also has destructive side. Once you have the water and turn it into an ice, that is when it becomes deadly. We don't have a capability to control ocean, but we can turn water into ice. The god who governs water is called Volturnus, and the sigil looks like this. Anuc stopped walking and faced Nald. Position his left palm in front of Nald and the palm generate the symbol of water sigil. Do the same process on how to transmute this element. The only difference is you have to remember the sigil that you want to conjure and transmute. Each element has its own sigil. Please do remember that. Nald was able to understand and confirm it. Okay, Father. Now let us demonstrate the water transmutation. Anuc picked up a piece of rock and transmuted it into water. You see, son, the rock looks crystal clear once transmuted into water. Now, I will turn it into ice and then throw it to that small tree. Anuc started transmuting the water and then suddenly it turned into ice. Anuc positioned himself and faced a small tree, 7 feet away, and then he throw the ice ball into the small tree, and the small tree freeze. Nal was amazed on what he saw as he replied, "Wow, that tree freeze." Anuc smiled in his face as he explained, "You see, that is how ice transmutation work. It freezes the object. You can even shatter the object once it freezes." Another use of water transmutation is if you're thirsty and you need a drink, you can transmute water to any object. Again, preferably a small object like this small stone. Nald is still amazed as he replied, "Wow, this transmutation is very useful." Okay, now for the next element is the element of wind. Air gives us life. It is what we breathe every second of our life. But once it becomes violent, it is very deadly. We cannot fly, but we can conjure violent wind, just like tornado and hurricanes. The god who governs wind is called Animwa, and the sigil looks like this. Anuc stopped walking and faced Nald as he positioned his left palm in front of Nald, and the palm generated the symbol of wind. Same process as you conjure an element. The only difference is you concentrate and focus on the element that you want to conjure and transmute. Again, remember each element sigil, okay? Nald already understand what his father meant and still confirm it by saying, "Okay, Father, I understood." Now for the demonstration of wind transmutation. Anuc picked up a small rock and transmute the element of wind in it, and it became a ball of wind. He then positioned and faced the small tree that he recently froze 7 feet away. He then threw it to the small tree and then to the small tree that he recently froze, and the violent wind shattered the tree into pieces. Nald was amazed on what he saw as he replied, "Amazing, the wind destroyed the tree." Anuc smiled while explaining what happened to the tree and gave some tips as well. "You see, son, how destructive wind can be? You can also change the intensity of the wind depending on how much physical energy you release from it." Now for the next element will be the element of earth. Earth is earth. Now I was able to get Anuc and start laughing. Anuc continued explaining, "It is where we live. It is also the ground that we are right now. Now if you touch the ground, you will feel how hard it is. Earth consists most rocks, sand, stones, soil, and anything that is hard and some natural metal. Earth is the hardest and most densest material, and if you combine it with natural metal, then it will be indestructible. The god who governs Earth is Gaia, and the sigil looks like this. Anuc stopped walking and faced Nald while he positioned his left palm in front of Nald, and the palm generated the symbol of Earth sigil. Now for the demonstration for the Earth transmutation. Anuc placed his right palm on his left chest demon sigil. His whole body turned into solid rock metal. He held the transmutation for about 30 seconds and then he undid the transmutation. As you can see now, I cannot move my body, my lips, or even my eyes. They are all solid and indestructible. I need to undo the transmutation in order for me to move. Now to undo the transmutation, all I have to do is to command my demon sigil to undo it, since my palm is already on my chest. Another thing that you will notice is I did not pick up any object. I simply put my hands on my chest and performed the transmutation. This transmutation is unique and powerful. Then suddenly Nald remembers something clearly and asked Anuc about it. Father, I thought you prefer small object to transmute so that we can conserve physical energy. Our body is a large object. Anuc stopped walking and faced Nald, smiled and explained the trick behind it. You are correct, son. There is a trick behind it. I don't fully transmute my body into rock metal. I simply cover my outside body with rock metal. Inside is still flesh and bone. But to tell the truth, it is the most powerful form of transmutation for earth element. Let me show you the basic earth transmutation. Anuc put his left palm on his left chest and transmute only the left arm with rock metal and shape it as an oval shield. Anuc explained what he did. As you can see, I only transmute my left arm with rock metal and make look like an oval shield. But if in any case the attack is widespread, it will still damage some part of my body. That is not protected. The good thing about this is you can use this as a basic shield for basic attacks such as parrying and blocking. Also, you can move freely without guarding. Anuc undid the earth transmutation. Something struck Nald's mind and is curious how transmutation worked. He then asked, Father, another question. Do we need incantations or spells in order for us to conjure and transmute all sigils that we use? Anuc smiled and answered Nald's question. Good question, son. Now for the answer for that is, it is not required to do incantations or spell. Let me explain why. We Xaltics already communed with the spirit and gods. Once the higher element is embedded into our body, it becomes part of our body. All we have to do is to use our imagination to cast them. Finally, Nald was able to understand how conjure and transmutation work, as he replied, Understood, Father. Anuc wrapped up all 4 elements and then he opened up the 2 sub-elements. Okay, that is all for the 4 elements. Now we go for the sub-elements. These are the force and mind. Nald is not familiar with the sub-elements as he asked, Father, what is sub-elements? Anuc smiled and replied, Sub-elements are elements that you cannot see, smell, hear, or feel. You can only see or feel this once it becomes violent. Nald was able to understand sub-elements as he replied, Understood, Father. Let us start with the force. Force is a sub-element that controls nature like thunder or any electromagnetic force that occurs on Earth. Black hole is controlled by force. Magnet is controlled by force. You can even move an object using force. The god who governs force is called Daimona, and the sigil looks like this. Anup stopped walking and faced Nald, while he positioned his right palm in front of Nald, and the palm generate the force, the symbol of force sigil. Now for the demonstration of the force transmutation. Anup picked up a small rock and transmuted it into a thunderbolt. He then faced the small tree 7 feet away and threw it to a small tree. In the small tree, burn and explode. Nal was amazed on what he saw. As he replied, "Amazing." Anuk explained what happened and give some tips to Nal. As you can see now, I only transmute thunder in a small amount of my physical energy. I can increase the intensity of thunder depending on how much energy I put into it. Now they can clarify what Anok told him as he say, "So father, if you put more physical energy into it, it will be more powerful?" Anok smiled and replied, "Yes, you are correct. Let's say I put a lot of physical energy into it, the outcome will be the range become wider and the duration is much longer. We don't have capability to make permanent force. We can only make it temporary." Nald was able to understand the force and how it works. Nald wants to see more about force transmutation, especially the powerful one, as he asked, "Father, can you conjure and transmute a black hole? I want to see it." Anup replied but refused to do the transmutation. "Yes, I can, but I can't do it here. It will wreak havoc in this forest. It will suck everything. That includes you. Everything, anyway, it is an advanced force transmutation. It requires a lot of physical energy to conjure and transmute a black hole. You will learn it soon enough, once you're older." Now I'll understand and hopeful, as he replied, "Understood, father." Now for the next sub-element is the mind. Mind is intelligence and also our conscious. It's what differs us from other species. Ever wonder when you wake up from your sleep, you notice that you can speak our language and know lots of things even if you did not study physically everything? Nald answered, "Is it because of my dreams, father?" Anuk explained how mind transmutation worked. Partly, yes. I actually used transmutation of mind to put all the basic knowledge of universe, such as speaking, how to read, how to ride a horse, how to walk, how to eat, anything that is essential for your basic survival, except for the knowledge for conjure transmutation and the use of spear and short sword. The reason why I did not include it is because I need to teach those skills physically. It requires focus and concentration. The use of spear and short sword will be discussed once we are done with conjure transmutation. Now I'll understand, as he replied, "Understood, father." Anna continued explaining the theory. Now back to the topic. In mind transmutation, we have the capability to pass knowledge and read mind. We use our palm. We have the capability to pass knowledge and mind with the use of our palm. We can also control mind. We can also control person's mind. Now, the god who governs mind is called Abiona, and the sigil looks like this. Anak stopped walking and faced Nald, while he positioned his right palm in front of Nald, and the palm generated the symbol of mind sigil. Now for the demonstration for the mind transmutation. Anak picked up a small rock and transmuted it into a green orb. This is the first time Nald see a green orb, as he asked, "What is that green orb?" Anak smiled and replied, "Son, this is a mind control orb. Once you place this to a person's head, they will become your slave. Be in mind though, it has side effect once you remove the mind control. The person will experience drowsiness and sleepy. Sleeping will take about a day or two before the person can regain consciousness on its own. You can also do mind control by simply placing your hand onto your opponent's head." Nal was able to understand the green orb and the mind control as he replied, "Understood, Father." Anok introduced other beings who can use magics, as he explained. Not only us can conjure magic. There are also wizards, sorcerers, summoners, warlocks, shaman, geomancer, necromancer, and witches. Be aware though, those individuals that I mentioned cannot be mind controlled. Even we have successfully placed the mind orb to their head. They know how to counter magic, and even it came from transmutation. They are magicians themselves. Each individual has its own specialty. I will discuss them once we are done training with conjure transmutation. Nal was able to understand what are magicians and be aware of them as he replied, "Understood, Father." Another thing to remember that once you make a slave, you cannot talk to them, and they cannot talk to you. You have to remove their will to think and act on their own. They're just like zombies. Zombies. You can only command them, so don't do this for fun. Create your own army of slaves. Don't do that, and we are not like that. Understand, Nald? Nald was able to understand as he replied, "Understood, Father." Use this mind transmutation wisely. We Xaltic had done so many wrong things in the past. What we can do now is to make it right. Then Nald noticed that he don't know their past, as he asked Anok, "Father, what have we done in the past that is wrong? Can you tell to me?" Anok smiled and replied, "Soon, son. Once we are done with your training, I'll tell you the story of our clan." Nal was hopeful as he replied, "Understood, Father. Now let us go to the higher elements. There are two higher elements. These are dark and holy. Now, these are the sigil that is embedded on our chest. Let us start with the dark sigil. The dark sigil is our tribe sigil. I believe you already know the god who governed this sigil. Again, the name of the god, or the dark god, or the demon god is Avalak. The sigil's power is destruction. It has a capability to command 4 elements and 2 sub-elements at will. When we use this, we consume physical energy. By using our focus and concentration, we produce powerful imagination that allows the demon sigil to conjure the power of elements sigil to produce transmutation. That is the reason why we don't use incantations or spells to transmute. Now I was able to understand as he replied, "Understood, Father." Anna continued explaining the theory. Now for the next higher element, the holy element. To tell you the truth, we don't know that holy exists. We recently discovered it after invading Sumerian tribe. There is this glyph inscribed on stone. We study it, and from there we're able to learn the holy element. We learned that this has the same aura level as dark, but completely opposite. It has the power of life. We studied and learned how to embed this into our body. We noticed that this element calms our hearts and mind. To tell you the truth, we are savage tribe back then. But that will be a different story. Back to the topic. The god who governs whole is called Dayan, and the sigil on your left chest is the holy sigil. Right now, the holy sigil protects us from darkness. With the use of holy transmutation, you can actually heal or revive a dead being, but in exchange of your life energy. Life energy depleted as we age. We cannot regain life energy. Good thing our clan live 1,000 years. And we can still use this, but I prefer we use this for emergency only. Like I did to save you. Anuak also noticed some changes when imbued the holy sigil in our body. I also noticed some changes when I imbued the holy sigil in our body. Not only it changes our hearts and mind, but it makes us sterile. Nal was curious of what sterile means, and then he asked Anuak, "What do you mean sterile, father?" Anuak smiled and replied, "Meaning we cannot produce a baby anymore. Possible reason is the conflict with our dark sigil. I don't recommend removing it because the demon god may find us and destroy us." Nal was able to understand as he replied, "Understood, father." Anuak continued his explanation. As I mastered the holy element, I came in encounter with the time element. I can describe it as an upgrade version of holy. Time element is a different sigil, meaning it governs by different god, and his name is Kronos. The sigil looks like this. Anuak stopped walking and faced Nald. He opened his palm and faced it towards Nald. The symbol of time element is glowing in his palm. Nald satisfied his curiosity as he replied, "I see, that is the time element sigil." Anuak pulled out his necklace that has a clock on it. "Son, look at this." Nald is not familiar with it as he asked, "What is that, father?" Anuak answered, "It is called clock." Nald wants to know about what it can do. "What is a clock, father?" Anuak briefly explained the device as he replied, "Clock is the one that shows us time. There are 24 hours a day, 60 minutes in 1 hour, and 60 seconds in 1 minute." Nald was amazed on the device and still curious as he asked, "Wow, how did you learn this, father?" Anuak replied, "Actually, I learned it when I used the time travel. I was able to commune with Kronos and able to learn about this." Anuak continued explaining, "While you were sleeping, I made this mini clock. It's actually useful because I was able to determine what time is day and what time is night. This one is using my physical energy to operate it." Nald was amazed of the device as he replied, "Wow, that's great, father. We can now track time." Anuak laughed as he replied, "I know, son." Anuak explained to Nald that he cannot demonstrate the time element because of the following reason. Now, for the demonstration, I cannot do that because it will consume my life energy. I don't have enough time with me, so it is best that I conserve my life energy so that I can live a little longer to train you. Nald is a bit disappointed, but he understands the situation of Anok as he replied, "Understood, father." Anok gave advice and tips regarding Nald's capability on mastering the conjure transmutation. As he said, I already teach you the basic theory for all elements. It's up to you to experiment different combination of it once you grow older. Might give you great results. But be aware about the holy and time element. It consumes life energy, so use it wisely. Nal understood what Anok said as he replied, "Understood, father. But now this still needs but now still need to clarify regarding the difference between physical energy and life energy, and also ask how to regain it and improve it." Another question, father. How can we regain physical energy and life energy? Anok smiled and answered, "We cannot regain life energy because it's our natural life process as we age. But for the physical energy, we gain it by sleeping and eating. We can also increase the endurance of our physical energy by training our body." Now fully understand the difference between life and physical energy as he replied, "Understood, father." Okay, I'll be ending the video here because this will be a new subchapter. And I hope I was able to entertain you. And please do like, share, and subscribe to my channel. And it will really help me a lot. And thank you again. Thank you for watching. And see you next time. Bye.